Welcome back to the Angus Report. I'm Crystal Albers. Drought is a key consideration in the cattle business today, and I'm joined by my special guest, Dr. John Paterson, the Executive Director at NCBA for Producer Education, and Dr. Larry Corah of Certified Angus Beef. A lot of the country has been affected by drought this year, and the current situation with the cattle numbers being what they are, and then feed alternatives that are out there that people are considering. There's a lot going on in the business today. Give us an overview of how we've arrived where we are, John.
Well, you know, in my job, I've gotten to go from Oregon to Wisconsin, from Canada down to Mexico. I'd say, and I agree, 65 to 70% of our cows are under drought conditions in this country. It's a miserable drought. Some parts of the country, this is their second year of drought. We've gotten rid of a lot of cows. Our unproductive cows have gone to market already. I think the issue that Larry and I began to talk about is we know the immediate challenges, but what's the long-term effects of this drought, and where are we going to be? What happens if we get a November snowstorm across this drought area? Are we ready to handle that? And then long-term, if we're not ready to handle that, what's the effect going to be on that calf crop in 2013 and getting those cows rebred?
And Larry, what are you hearing from producers out in the country?
Well, I think one of the things that you really see is cows coming off what version of summer grass we had in a lot poorer body condition. They're just not carrying the flesh that normally you like to see cows coming into the fall, because then you've got some flexibility in terms of how you feed the cow, flexibility as you go into tough winter storms, as John is alluding to. I think it's really critical here, as we've got a month or two, to really maybe try to get these cows put on a little bit of weight, try to use, whether it's fall grazing, if there's corn stalks available. The other key, I think, is as we get closer to calving, John, just to make sure that we don't go into calving with thin cows, weak cows, because then the result of that is calves that are weak. You have a higher incidence of death loss. Not only that, you know, you impact subsequent productivity, growth rate, quality grades, a lot of those type of things.
So you mentioned culling those open cows. What are some other management things producers should be considering right now to avoid some of those detrimental long-term effects?
Oh, you know, we got to pay attention to these nutrients, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but we've got to make sure these cows in this second trimester, Larry said they're thin, okay? So what's necessary is got to make sure, do we have adequate protein? Do we have adequate energy in this second and third trimester of pregnancy on there? I think the thing I'd recommend to everybody, you got to get that hay tested. You know, if you look at the range data from the West, during a drought, the range is higher quality, but there's just not very much quantity there. So we're going to feed hay. Why would you want to overfeed nutrients? Why would you want to buy supplemental ingredients when you don't need them? So for the $20 to $25 that it takes, let's go out and find out how much protein and energy. Take that data and let's build a balanced nutritional program. And what Larry's talking about, you may even get specific enough to say, I'm going to put my really thin cows in one group, and I'm going to put my adequate body condition cows in another group, so you can manage those feed costs. But first thing I do, make sure we've got an adequate protein and energy going in these cows. You do that by a forage analysis.
And it's pretty affordable as well, correct?
Oh, $25, somewhere in that, maybe even less, depending on what you want. But protein and energy are the two big ones you got to have. Maybe you want to go and get some minerals analyzed too, because phosphorus is kind of a big deal during a drought. You got to have some supplemental phosphorus for these cows during the drouthy years.
And also take good samples, not just go out and you got one bale of hay out there, you go out and grab a sample. Do multiple samples so it really is representative of the feed supply you have. The other point, though, I think that's really important is we've actually made a lot of this corn into silage. Actually, drought corn silage, the research work has shown, has a lot more feed value than you'd expect. On the other hand, to be on the safe side with the value of cattle today, that's another part, along with protein and energy. Running a nitrate test on some of that feed is well worth doing.
You got me going now when you said nitrate. Several of the questions I've had this last week, prussic acid. I want to graze sorghum Sudan. What do you think about that? How long should we wait once you get a frost?
Well, one of the keys, if you're going to use like some of the sorghums and some of the things where prussic acid could be a problem, is if you can get past a frost and let them go 2, 3, 4 days so that prussic acid is down, then making them into hay or silage or whatever route they're going becomes a lot safer. But that's the kind of risks that we're dealing with. All these are drought related. So the testing point is a great point, John.
We'll continue this discussion when we return after this.
When it comes to buying or selling top quality Angus cattle, experience matters. Visit cotton-associates.com. That's cotton-associates.com to learn about our fall Angus sales. And join us for our upcoming sales at the Rutherford Ranches Production Sale, October 26th, 44 Farms Female and Bull Sale, October 27th, Hudson Pines Living Legacy Sale, October 29th, and Quaker Hill Farms, November 2nd. Working together, succeeding together, that's Cotton & Associates.